anyone one of you like? Is anyone gonna talk, bro? Like, say something. Yeah, I'm over. Alright. Never mind. I'm blind. Yep, I'm blind. Bro, so I used my life for a freaking safe issue. Yeah, I'm over. Alright. Never mind. I'm blind. Yep, I'm blind. Damn, bro, so I used my life for a freaking safe issue. Yeah, I'm over. How do I go? Alright. Okay. Never mind. I'm blind. I watched. What are you? He has his own live stream. Damn, bro, my life for a freaking safe issue. Yeah, I'm over. How do I go? I just want to do it that bad, bro. Why is it going? Never mind. I'm blind. I watched. He has his own live stream. Damn, by the way. Life for a freaking safe issue. Yeah, I'm over. Like, what? I just want to do it that bad, bro. Why is it going? Never mind. I'm blind. I watched. Bro he has his own live video. My life and playing like fucking life for a freaking safe issue. No, like what? I just want to do it that bad, bro. Why is it going? Never mind. I watched. He has his own live video. My life and playing like life for a freaking safe issue. No, like what? I just want to do it that bad, bro. Why is it going? Never mind. Bro, choose. Bro, choose. Why do you deal so much damage? Yo, what the? You go choose. Oh, he is. 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 Okay. All right. You got it again. So very important. Oh. Oh, you're gonna get me? No, no. You're not gonna get me. Oh, oh. You're not. Okay, bro. What the heck? Bruh. All right. Are you gonna be seven things? Oh, he is. He is. He is. He is. He is. He is. Oh, you're gonna get me? No, no. You're not gonna get me. Oh, oh. But why am I not hitting him? Oh, you're gonna get me? No, no. You're not gonna get me. Oh, oh. But why am I not hitting him? But why am I not hitting him? 20 seconds late, bro. Barely. Easy booty cheeks. And if you're ready to the oh hey bro. You're fine, bro. I'm not scared after that, especially Ooh. I don't have enough food. It's 20 seconds late, bro. Die. Oh damn. Okay, that scared me. Easy booty cheeks. And if you're ready to the oh hey bro. You're only lag is not doing this. Alright guys, I'll be right back. I'll be right back. Give me a second. I don't have enough food. It's 20 seconds late, bro. Die. Oh damn. Okay, that scared me. Easy booty cheeks. And if you're ready to the oh hey bro. You're only lag is not doing this. Alright guys, I'll be right back. I'll be right back. Give me a second. I don't have enough food. It's 20 seconds late, bro. Die. Oh damn. Okay, that scared me. Easy booty cheeks. And if you're ready to the oh hey bro. Your only lag is not doing this. Alright, I am back. Alright guys, I'll be right back. I'll be right back. Give me a second. Wait. I don't have enough food. It's 20 seconds late, bro. I think that's freaking owner. I don't know. Like profile. Why am I killing animals? Who do you have to? I think that's bruh. Freaking owner. I don't know. Like profile. I don't have enough, do I? Why am I killing animals? Who do you have to? Oh my god, bro. Damn it. I think that's bruh. There we go. Profile. I don't have enough, do I? Let me out. Guys, I'm like so bad at Minecraft. Why am I killing animals? Who do you have to? Oh my god, bro. Damn it. Okay. Bruh, cheap. There we go. Guys, ignore my extremely loud spacebar. Guys, I'm like. Why am I killing animals? Who do you have to? Oh my god, bro. Damn it. Okay. Bruh, cheap. I have no. Okay. Yo, what's that? Guys, ignore my extremely loud space. I'm gonna need that. Yo, who's watching by the way? Can y'all comment? I have no. Okay. Or something. Yo, what's that? Guys, ignore my extremely loud space. I'm gonna need that. Was that aura, guys? Yo, who's watching, by the way? Can y'all comment? It's like, I know I have like a billion viewers coming, but can y'all comment? Bro, your stream has like 20 streams open. Yo! So good, I guess I literally nah. Yo! That's like Yo!
when your love arrives, reliably and affordably. The United States Postal Service, delivering since 1775.
My brother laughed as I drowned at 22. Then my parents plotted to steal $50,000 from me to fund his MBA. So I vanished and took every cent with me. My name is Lucas, and I'm 22 years old. My brother shoved me into a lake and laughed as I drowned. Before I tell you how I redirected his entire $50,000 college fund and vanished without a trace, please tell me where you're watching from in the comments. I'd like to see how far my story goes. Our yearly family reunion was held at my mother's family's lakeside cabin, which had been passed down through generations. The air smells like pine needles and barbecue smoke. Distant cousins whom I only saw once a year were crowding around, laughing and catching up. On the surface, it was the epitome of a happy American family. But for me, it was just another stage in my family's favorite play, where I was put in the same role year after year, the dependable, responsible, and completely unnoticeable younger brother. My older brother Liam was the star of the show. At 24, he was personable, athletic, and had a way of making everyone feel like they were his best friend, right up until he asked for a favor. He was standing on the edge of the old wooden dock, holding a can of beer, and telling our cousins an exaggerated story. I was just walking past to get a Coke from the cooler. "Hey, little bro," he muttered, a sneer on his lips. "Thinking about all that money Grandpa left you?" I ignored him and reached for a cold can. That was his favorite topic, my inheritance. Not our inheritance, but mine. A reality that irritated my family every day. "Don't be like that," he said, moving in front of me. I attempted to get around him, but he placed a palm on my chest. "You know, you're always so serious. You need to loosen up." And then he shoved me. Hard. The entire globe tilted. One moment I was on the sturdy wood of the dock, the next I was tumbling backward into the murky, startlingly cold lake water. The Cold War was a physical blow that took the oxygen out of my lungs. I came up spitting and gasping, my hair stuck to my face, my head dipped under again as I attempted to regain my bearings. The laughing from the dock reached me before the air did. It was Liam, hunched over and pointing. "Don't be so dramatic," he exclaimed. My parents, Robert and Susan, were watching from the porch. They were smiling and not trying to help, just watching me fight to breathe. A sharp ache raced through my previous shoulder injury, and the familiar tightness of asthma gripped my chest. I was not being dramatic. I was in serious trouble. And as I watched them laugh, I realized something inside me had finally shattered. I did not argue. I did not yell. I had just fought my way back to the shore, my lungs burning. 2 weeks later, his education fund was depleted, and so was I. The journey home from the reunion was quiet. I sat in the back seat, wrapped in a damp, musty towel. The car's air conditioning felt like ice on my skin. The wheezing in my chest had decreased to a low whistle, a continual reminder of how close I'd been to having an asthma attack. Liam sat in the front seat, humming along to the radio and occasionally chuckling to himself. My parents were discussing what they needed to get from the grocery shop. It was as if nothing had happened in the last hour, as if their youngest son had not drowned while they were watching. But to me, that hour felt like a lifetime. The cold of the lake had stunned my system, but it was the ice in their gaze that froze something deep within me. It brought back a decade of recollections, like a long silent film of my own life playing out in my head. I recall being 16 and quite proud of my first automobile, a beat-up but dependable sedan I had purchased with money from my after-school job. A week later, Liam, who had recently had his license suspended for speeding, took it without permission and tied it around a telephone pole. When I discovered it, my mother took me aside, her voice quiet and imploring. "He made a mistake, Lucas. He feels terrible. Be a good brother. That money your grandfather is saving for you can cover it, right?" I ended up paying for the damage. Liam never said thank you. I remembered my 21st birthday. I wanted to have a great meal with my family. Instead, I spent the night sending Liam $5,000. He was in Las Vegas with his friends and, as he put it, hit a bit of a rough patch. My father whacked my shoulder after I got off the phone. "That's my boy, always responsible. Family helps family." My grandfather, my mother's father, had seen it all. He was a calm, observant man who had started a successful construction company from scratch. He observed how I conserved my money while Liam spent his allowance. He noticed how I studied for my exams while Liam partied. He noticed that I was always the one left to clean up the messes. A few months before he died, he sat me down in his workshop, the air thick with sawdust and varnish. He gave me a thick, leather-bound ledger. "Money is a tool, Lucas," he'd reply, his voice hoarse yet forceful. "It can build a life, or it can be a crutch for those who refuse to learn to walk. I trust you to be a builder." When he died, he gave me the bulk of his fortune, which included investments and property. My parents received the family property and a pension, while Liam received a minimal sum. The will was clear. The money was mine and would be managed by me after I turned 21. My grandfather had placed his trust in me, not them, and they had never forgiven me for it. My mother finally broke the stillness in the car. "Lucas, honey, are you feeling better?" I didn't respond. I simply stared out the window. "Stop being such a baby," Liam complained from the front. My father remarked, "It was a joke, Liam," with no actual admonishment in his voice. "But he's right, Lucas. You've always been too sensitive." I got home, showered, and went into my room. The chill was no longer just in my bones. It was in my heart. I took out my phone and contacted Michael, the only person I knew who would understand. We'd been best friends since kindergarten, and he'd seen my family's dynamics firsthand for many years. "They did what?" he asked, his voice a deep growl as I repeated the story. I could imagine him pacing his small apartment and raking his hand through his hair in agitation. They just laughed, Mike, like it was the funniest thing they'd ever seen. "I'm coming over," he said. He arrived in 15 minutes with a bag of greasy burgers in his hand. We sat in my room, and for the first time that day, I felt a sense of warmth. "This isn't just about the lake, Lucas. You know that, right?" he added, handing me a burger. I wasn't hungry, but I accepted it anyway. "How many times have you bailed him out? How many loans have you given them that you know you'll never see again?" I simply shrugged, picking at the wrapper. "They're not just taking your money, man. They're taking your life."
Cheese. It's raining tacos. Raining tacos. Raining tacos. It's
Hi.
raining tacos.
They're disrespecting you because they know you'll just take it. You're their safety net. Their get-out-of-jail-free card. He leaned forwards, his gaze fierce. Have you ever, even once, felt loved by them, without a condition attached? Without them needing something from you? His question struck me harder than the frigid water. I struggled to recall a single moment or memory in which their devotion was unrelated to my obedience or my wallet. Nothing arrived. The silence lingered and was punctuated by a terrifying, dawning awareness. My eyes welled up with tears I hadn't realized I had. I turned away, not wanting him to notice. He pretended not to notice. After Michael went, I took out an old photo album. There we were, a family of 4, happy at Disney World. I was approximately 10. I remembered the trip. I remembered that my father had misplaced his wallet, and I had handed up the $200 I had saved for a new video game console to help pay for the hotel. My mother had hugged me and referred to me as her little hero. At the time, I felt a flush of pride. Looking at the snapshot, I could only see the beginning of the pattern. I flicked through the pages, each happy shot a lie. Graduation images, Christmas mornings, and birthday parties. Every milestone was stained by a trade, a sacrifice I made that was expected but not acknowledged. I closed the album, a deep sense of loss sweeping over me. I wasn't just mourning my family. I was grieving for the family I believed I had, the one I so wanted to believe in. The smiling folks in the photographs were strangers, and I was a stranger in my own home. I sat there in the dark, tears finally falling, grieving for the youngster in the images, who only wanted his family to love him for who he was, not what he had. The following few days were a whirl of forced friendliness. My family acted as if nothing had happened, which was somehow worse than their anger. It completely invalidated my experience. My mother would hum while she prepared breakfast, asking if I wanted eggs. Liam would want to borrow my car charger. My father would ask me to help him with yard labor. It was usually, and this was driving me mad. On a Thursday night, the breaking point occurred, and my anguish was transformed into cold, steely resolve. I was headed downstairs for a glass of water when I heard my parents' voices in the living room. I paused at the bottom of the stairs, obscured by shadows. "He's barely spoken a word in 3 days," my mother, Susan, said, her voice dripping with frustration. "This whole silent treatment thing is so childish." "He'll get over it," my father, Robert, grumbled from behind his newspaper. "He always does." "We can't afford for him to get over it right now, Robert," she said sharply. "Liam needs the down payment for that MBA program by the end of the month. $50,000. Did you forget?" "Of course, I hadn't forgotten. What do you want me to do?" "He is an adult. We cannot simply grab the money." There was a moment before my mother's voice lowered to a conspiratorial whisper. "I was talking to my sister Carol. Her husband's construction business is having some cash flow issues, a temporary crisis. What if we told Lucas that we were in trouble, that the business was on the verge of collapse and we needed him to co-sign a loan to save it?" My blood became chilly. "He'd never do it," my father stated dismissively. "He would if we framed it right," she maintained. "We make it about family, about responsibility. We tell him it's the only way to keep a roof over our heads. We'll get the loan, give Liam the $50,000, and then, well, we'll figure the rest out later. He has to be responsible for his brother. It's the right thing to do." I felt like I was going to get sick. It wasn't just casual greed anymore. This was a computed plot. They weren't just taking advantage of my kindness. They intended to purposefully deceive me, trapping me in debt to support my brother's life. I backed away from the stairs, my heart beating in my chest, and went into my room before they could hear me. I closed the door with my back against it and slipped to the floor. It was one thing to take for granted. It was another thing to be the target of your own parents' conspiratorial plot. The next day, I tried to contact my girlfriend Jennifer. We'd been dating for almost a year. She was intelligent, ambitious, and I believed she was on my side. We met for coffee, and I told her about the lake, the history of financial demands, and the talk I had overheard. I expected fury. I expected her to tell me to get out of there. Instead, she stirred her latte with a contemplative scowl on her face. "Wow, that's a lot, Lucas. A lot." "Jennifer, they're planning to defraud me." "Well, maybe not defraud," she answered, deliberately avoiding my gaze. "Maybe they're just desperate, and it's just a signature, right? For my family. You don't want to be the one to break up your family over money, do you? Think about what people would say." I stared at her with the coffee cup stopped halfway to my lips. What they would say. It didn't matter what was right or wrong. It was not about my well-being. It was about appearances. And in that moment, I recognized that my inheritance was not a burden for her, but rather a feature. She appreciated the beautiful dinners and weekend vacations. My financial security was part of my appeal. My agony was simply an inconvenient byproduct. "I have to go," I replied, getting up abruptly, rattling the table. That night, I phoned Michael again. I told him everything, including the narrative and Jennifer's reaction. There was a long pause on the other end of the telephone. Then he spoke. "I know a lawyer, Lucas. My aunt used her for her divorce. She's tough and she's smart. Her name is Sarah Blackwood. I think you should call her, not to sue them, just to know what your rights are, to know what you're up against." He texted me her number. I stared at it for 5 minutes before using my thumb to press the call button. Sarah Blackwood's workplace was located in a beautiful modern building downtown. It felt like another universe from my family's suburban house. Sarah was in her late 40s, with keen, intelligent eyes and a calm, no-nonsense approach. She listened to my entire story without pausing, her pen occasionally scribbling a note on a legal pad. When I finished, I felt emotionally tired, as if I had just run a marathon. She looked at me with a blend of professionalism and genuine empathy. "Lucas," she said, her tone steady and comforting. First, let's be perfectly clear. The assets your grandfather left you are yours and yours alone. You have zero legal obligation to pay for your brother's education, his car, or his lifestyle. The only obligation you have is the emotional one they have manufactured and exploited for years. Hearing it put out so obviously and legally was like having a physical weight lifted off my shoulders. The plan you overheard, she said with a slightly sterner voice, is not just morally reprehensible. It borders on conspiracy to commit fraud. If you were to sign that loan under false pretenses they created, you would be legally on the hook. And they know that. We spoke for more than an hour. We discussed alternatives. We discussed trusts and foundations. We spoke about boundaries. For the first time, I wasn't simply discussing my feelings. I was discussing strategy. I left her office feeling changed. The pain was still there, a dull ache in my chest. But for the first time, it was accompanied by something else. A flash of power, a feeling of control. They had shoved me into the water, expecting me to flail and splash before giving in. They had no notion I was going to learn how to build a dam. The 2 weeks following my meeting with Sarah Blackwood were the most silent and intense of my life. On the exterior, I appeared calm and compliant. I returned to being the Lucas they were used to. I answered my mother's inquiries regarding my day. I let Liam beat me at video games. I even helped my father clean out the garage. I was playing a character, and I had never been a more compelling performer. Inside, however, a tempest raged. Every courteous smile was a disguise, and each nod of agreement was a strategically placed chess move. I was no longer a victim, subject to their whims. I was an architect who designed my own exit. My first step was to test the waters and validate what I already knew in my heart. One evening during supper, I let out a deep sigh. I got some tough news today, I remarked, pushing my mashed potatoes around my plate. That tech stock I invested a chunk of my savings in took a nosedive. I've lost a significant amount of money. The reaction was immediate and telling. My mother's fork clattered on the plate. What? How much? A lot, I answered vaguely, studying their expressions. It's going to take a while to recover. I'll have to be really careful with my finances for the foreseeable future. I saw it. No concern for me or my alleged financial loss. Just pure, unabashed panic. My brother Liam's face darkened. You're kidding me, right? What about my MBA? The first tuition payment is due. I'm sorry, Liam, I replied, catching his gaze. I don't think I can help with that right now. What do you mean you can't help? My mother Susan asked, her voice rising. You can't just be irresponsible with that money, Lucas. Your grandfather left it for you to build a future, for this family's security, not to gamble away on stocks. The hypocrisy was so thick I could choke on it. This was the ultimate confirmation. My worth to them was not as a son or brother, but as a bank account, a resource. And now that the resource was apparently in jeopardy, the thin veil of familial fondness was peeled away, revealing the ugly, desperate hunger underneath. The next day, I started building my art. I had a few more modest, clandestine sessions with Sarah. We lay out the strategy. My parents expected $50,000 for Liam, which was sitting in a high-yield savings account under my name. It was always my money, set aside in my mind for his schooling out of a misguided sense of duty. Now, it will be repurposed. Sarah assisted me in completing the paperwork necessary to start a private scholarship foundation. It was an easy legal maneuver. I would donate $50,000 to this new organization, which would subsequently provide scholarships to worthy kids in my town. We even gave it a name, adding a final lyrical touch of irony. We named it the Wilson Scholarship Foundation. Wilson was our family's name. Sarah handled the legal foundation, and I handled the mechanics of my escape. I had a degree in graphic design and secretly sent my portfolio to several companies in a city 3 states away, a place where I knew no one and could remain unknown. Within a week, I had a potential interview scheduled over Zoom. A few days later, they offered me a junior designer position. I accepted at the moment. I located a modest apartment online and paid the first month's rent and security deposit with a new bank account I'd made, which my family had no idea about. I started packing my belongings late at night, one box at a time, and hid them in the back of my closet. My most valued possessions are my grandfather's old tools, my collection of vintage design books, and images of myself and Michael from my real life. One afternoon, I overheard my mother on the phone, her voice strained with worry. She was in the kitchen, with her back to me. I don't know what to tell you, Carol. she said. You'll get your money. I need more time. Robert's deal fell through. We were counting on, just give me until the end of the year. So there it was, the seed of the truth. My aunt, who was always kind to me, was a creditor. Her kindness was like a thumbscrew tightening gently. It wasn't simply about putting Liam ahead. It was about getting themselves out of a hole they dug, with my own arms. Their deception was far more intricate than I could have anticipated. The parts were all in place. The foundation is legally established. The employment was secure. The flat was waiting. The only thing left to do was walk away. My family, unaware of the approaching tidal wave, decided to stage their final show. My mother said that we were having a special family meeting supper. Her tone was unnaturally cheery, as it always was when she was ready to ask for anything significant. She prepared my favorite supper, roast chicken and rosemary potatoes. The entire house smelled like I was preparing to leave for good. We sat at the dining table, the fine china glittering in the light. It felt like a scene from a movie, a heated family drama unfolding in real time. My father cleared his throat. My mother folded her hands on the table, and Liam leaned back in his chair with a sense of entitlement. Lucas, my mother said, her voice full of trained earnestness, we need to talk as a family. I simply glanced at her, my demeanor bland. I had rehearsed this scene in my head 100 times. Your father and I, we've hit a rough patch, she explained, a single flawless tear streaming down her cheek. The business, it's not doing well. We're facing a crisis, and we're in danger of losing everything. My father nodded grimly, performing his role. We need your help, son. We wouldn't ask if it wasn't a matter of life and death. He pushed a sheath of papers across the table, a loan application. As I had overheard, they wanted me to be a guarantor for a large loan, using my investment portfolio as security. It's just a signature, my mother said softly, her eyes begging. To save your family. Liam chimed in with the final nail in the coffin. It's time to be an adult, little brother. It's time to take on some real responsibility. I gazed down at the papers. I gazed at their eager expressions. My mother's desperate hope, my father's firm demand, and my brother's arrogant sneer. I saw the entire terrible, tragic play as it was, and I felt nothing. The rage had dissipated, leaving a cold, crystalline calm. I took the pen they'd so kindly left alongside the documents. I held it for a moment. I could sense victory in their eyes. They believed they had won. Then I gently put the pen back on the table, untouched. I stood up. No, I murmured quietly. Yet it resonated through the suddenly still room. What? My mother gasped. No, I said, a little louder this time. I looked each one in the eyes. I won't be signing anything. I turned and walked out of the dining room, leaving them in bewilderment. I went upstairs, took the 2 duffel bags I'd packed with my essentials, walked out the front door, got in my car, and drove away without looking back. The genuine climax occurred with a letter, not a roar. 3 days later, my brother Liam stepped into our local bank's main branch, sure that my small tantrum had ended. He went to the private client advisor he'd been assigned to inquire about setting up the wire transfer for his tuition. He probably entered with a swagger, expecting a red carpet treatment. He introduced himself to the advisor and stated that he was there to access monies provided by his brother for his MBA. The advisor, a courteous woman in her 50s, entered his name into the system. She frowned. She typed it again. I'm sorry, Mr. Wilson. I don't see any notes here about a transfer. It's coming from my brother's account. Lucas Wilson, Liam probably said, his voice tinged with irritation. More typing. A prolonged pause. Mr. Wilson, the advisor continued, her voice perfectly bland. The account you're referring to was closed 2 days ago. The funds were transferred out. Transferred where? That's my money. He would have cried, turning heads in the otherwise calm bank lobby. The counsel would have gently emphasized that the monies were legally in my name and that I had full authority to relocate them. But it was not the finest part. The next day, we received a thick, cream-colored letter addressed to Mr. Liam Wilson. It appeared official, important. He probably ripped it open, believing it was a bank error that needed to be corrected. A letter was enclosed on a high-embossed letterhead. It started, Dear Mr. Wilson, on behalf of our board of directors, we are delighted to inform you that you have been named the honorary inspiration for the newly established Wilson Scholarship Foundation. A generous anonymous donation of $50,000 has been made in your family's name to provide financial assistance to bright, deserving students in our community who have overcome significant personal and financial obstacles. Your story of ambition has inspired our benefactor to give back to those who demonstrate. I wasn't there to witness it, but I can vividly recall it. The color draining from Liam's face, my mother seizing the letter, her hand trembling as she read it aloud, my father dropping into a chair, his face ashen. The money wasn't simply gone. It had been utilized to publicly humiliate them. It had been transformed into a monument to their own avarice, a lasting, generous remembrance of what they had lost. They hadn't merely lost their money, they'd lost control. The power has moved totally and irreversibly, and I was already 3 states away and starting fresh. The consequences were immediate, and exactly as planned. Her voice perfectly bland. The account you're referring to was closed 2 days ago. The funds were transferred out. Transferred where? That's my